Hi, today I am sitting with Amit Srivastava, who's the co-founder and CTO of Constems AI. Hi, Amit. Lovely to have you at Neysa.
Hello.
How does it feel to be at the summit today?
It's very exciting. It's so grandeur. There's so much of excitement, and the whole place is AI,
The buzzing with it, right? Like,
buzzing with AI.
absolutely. And what's the feeling been like? This is the first day you're visiting today, or did you have a chance to get in yesterday as well?
No, it's a first day,
Right.
and normally when I'm in some conferences or other part, we are the only AI, or there are few other people around.
Correct.
But it's like everything is AI,
True.
and very excited to be here.
Absolutely. I think the energy is crazy out here and the kind of crowd that's coming in as well, right? We're seeing all age groups. It just shows the kind of AI enthusiasm the country is sharing, right? Let's begin with enthusiasm, right? I want to know a little bit of your journey. What brings you to the stage that you are today?
Okay, so I started my career long back, 2000, and I started in a company which was doing chip manufacturing. So I was a software guy there. So we did a lot of work, cutting edge work. It was one of the MNCs. And, the excitement of working into a cutting edge was there. But then there was something like, what next?
Correct.
And that is where I started doing my MBA at IIM Lucknow. And I met my co-founder there. He was talking about IoT, and we were talking about things, and just clicked. He come from the business world, I come from the tech world, and that was where it was kind of making sense for us to come together and start something.
Correct.
And we started Constems AI approximately 9 years back.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we were the first vision-based AI company.
Uh-huh.
And that comes with a little background of it. I've been working on videos and processings, and it was very close to hardware. And then when we started, we thought we'll do something with a connected system
Correct.
and an AI.
Correct.
So Constems is connected systems, Constems AI.
Got it.
And he comes from a retail background, and that is where he was talking about can we use all these things to actually understand what's happening.
Correct.
And that's where Vision AI born.
Got it.
So, yep, that's how it is.
Thank you for that in complete walkthrough your journey. It's amazing. Let's talk about how this retail is reacting to AI, right? When we say adopting AI in the retail and the manufacturing space, what does it look like for India, for ecosystem in India and retail and manufacturing ecosystems in India? What does it look like?
But, so look at it. We are the largest market in terms of retail, in terms of people out here, not in terms of revenue numbers, but definitely people going out and buying things. And who knows, time to see where will be the largest market. Now, we have so many retail stores, and what is interesting for a brand is to understand how the user is reacting. So there's a lot of science behind it, jo dikhta hai, wo bikhta hai, and kind of things, all is there. And there's a very defined way to understand this. You actually click images, you do merchandising, you do planogramming, and all those things are there. But then when you are getting data which is in tune of 1 million images per day, what do? You sit on it.
Absolutely.
And you browse through few.
Correct.
But what can you do with 1 million images?
Correct.
You can hire an agency to do a sample-based audits. And that's where we come in. We said, we'll scan each and every 1 million images that you have, and we'll give you an insight, and not in months, in a minute slack. And that's where real-time Vision AI was born.
Correct.
We offered this service almost 8 years back.
Okay.
And we have been doing it for some of the largest names.
Oh, great.
And today we are processing that quantity every day.
Correct.
And the insight is coming out. It's going to sales execution.
Correct.
And people are actually making changes to their top line and bottom line because of this.
Got it. So when you say the kind of scale and the quantum we are looking at image processing, right? And the kind of data that it is being generated, where it gets stored, how do people get the information, the structuring of it, the unstructured data, right? And like you said, millions and millions of images being scanned in seconds, right? What are the kind of challenges we're looking at? It's both exciting and overwhelming at the same time. How does it work? How is the backend looking like? And then how do you go about deciding what kind of infrastructure would ensure this kind of journey of the image processing and the vision image, right? How will it go about it?
Yeah, sure. So this is very interesting. We have been talking about large models. The world is going gaga over 10 billion parameters and whatnot.
Correct.
Large models are there. It is one of the things. It is giving you some help. But then, how do you deploy it? How do you operationalize it?
Correct.
So, putting it into a vertical. So, retail is one vertical that we work on. So, you use this whole thing and put it into a vertical where it makes sense. It is embedded into the business workflow. So, you do a fancy feature, it's not work. You have to be at the core of the business flow.
Right.
So, how do you put it into a core of a business flow? Then, how do you operationalize it? And then, how do you make sure it is giving you the reliability day over day?
Absolutely. Like imagine the nightmare of day-to-day business operating out of it and your models just don't perform.
Yes.
And what kind of model you choose and how you build it doesn't support you the way you imagine it would, right? What kind of bottlenecks are we looking at?
Yep. So you have to have a governance. You have to make sure that you have a control. So you have to control your AI stack.
Correct.
It cannot be an API driven thing.
Absolutely.
So that's one. Second, you have to have a governance in place. You have to have a guardrails. You have to ensure that the business is running. You have to ensure that you do not get bombarded by anomaly and then everything goes for a toss.
Imagine.
So, yeah, imagine. So I'll come to that a little later.
Yeah.
And I'll just conclude on this. You have to, all AI is a prediction, but you have to have a definite outcome. So the inner is predictability. The output is something which is defined.
Yeah.
So business needs defined. They need it to be risk-free. And that's where the adaptation will happen. So I'll just come to a small story here.
Yeah.
We were doing this in a manufacturing part. We were analyzing the surface of a hand wash.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it was a simple thing. You just look at the label and figure out what's happening. And that's it.
Yeah.
And at 3 a.m, I get a call. Can you come down? So I was in Noida. The factory was in Uttarakhand.
Uh-huh.
I drove down. And what I found is that there's a layer of rejected bottles.
Oh my.
And why? Because there was an anomaly in the manufacturing date. And our AI was triggering it every time. AI was right.
Yeah.
They were right. It's a small anomaly.
Uh-huh.
But the impact was a pile up of bottles.
Correct.
And the factory production manager, he was like, after me, what should I do?
So much wastage and so much undetected, and it went by like human error, human intervention.
Yes. So that's like we were still experimenting and, it was still in the POC phase.
Uh-huh.
So they were able to stop it. But then think of it. That's where we actually came up with the thought that how do we put a guardrails? You cannot get it undetected.
Correct. Absolutely.
And you have to think of all the possible scenarios in the business world.
Absolutely. Which brings me to 3 interesting points that you mentioned off, right? The first one is, let's just continue in terms of the model control that you spoke of. When you have, or the decision that you drive in terms of choosing your stack, you need control. Why is there such a significance attached to control? What does it empower leaders like you, and especially like innovators and builders of AI today? How important does control become a factor in choosing your stack?
Right. So let's step back. What we're trying to do, we're trying to put an artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about, simple vision-based structuring.
Yeah.
I'm talking about artificial intelligence, where you are expecting your camera to be intelligent.
Yeah.
Not as intelligent as human, but close to it.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, there are a lot of things which we do not give credit to ourselves. And there's a lot of things which we see when we see something is wrong.
Yeah.
Let's investigate.
Instinctive. more
instinctive.
intuitive and more instinctive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blinked.
Correct.
You understand there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Let me stop.
Correct.
Right. And if you see a pile of bottles, you will stop. Anyway.
True.
But then AI does not have that kind of thing yet.
It doesn't work on instinct. It works on like complete numbers and complete
Absolutely.
language and what it has been trained to do.
Yeah. So that is where the control came in.
Correct.
And that is where you want to control.
Correct.
You don't want to give an instinct to an AI, but you would definitely want to put a control so that something which as a human you can detect,
Yeah.
AI is not detecting,
Yeah.
but you have to make it aware
Yeah.
that these are the borders, these are the areas that you should work in. And that's where the control becomes so very important if you are actually trying to put it into a business use case.
Correct. And I think also in a sense that the guardrails and building those sort of security layer, building those sort of fencing will also assure that the end user gets the best of everything, right? And in a sense that the guardrails will also ensure reduction of wastage, which is what you spoke of in your example of the hand wash, right? Which is something that you lived, and to live through that would be like, oh my God, I can't even imagine what you must have gone through in a split second that you got a call that in your factory, piles and piles of hand wash bottles have gone. Because in the larger setting, in the most human setting of it, I would imagine that something like that would also create a huge wastage from an environment standpoint as well.
True. So in this case, it was more of a financial implications because that need to be redone.
Yeah.
So everything was redone, so it was not a waste, but nevertheless.
Which brings me to a very different question in terms of like ecosystem at large, right? When it comes to choosing between, you told us the significance of control. When it comes to choosing between speed, cost, and control, according to you, which one gets sacrificed the most when you're choosing your AI stack?
Yeah, so if you look at it, the first thing that goes out of the window is control.
Yeah.
People would like to reduce the cost, go for speed. But for us, control is the most important factor. You have to have the control. Even if you are going a little slower, finally you would be at an advantageous position. And we can learn it the hard way.
Correct.
So this was like 7-8 years back. But I remember that very clearly. I do not have another incident. So that talk about how closely we looked at control and how careful we are with the control. So control is the most important factor.
Got it. And what about like cost? How important a factor does it become when you are deciding the kind of stack that you want to build on it?
Yes. So, when you are experimenting,
Yeah.
cost might not be the key part. But when you are scaling, you have to have cost at the heart of it.
Correct.
So in India, and I believe in the world across,
Yeah.
if you're not efficient, if you're not looking at cost, it will not be a long-term game. And we are looking for a long-term game.
Absolutely.
When we are deploying, we deploy to enterprises. But when we are deploying, we intend to be there forever.
This was a lot about what happens behind the scenes, what happens when you're building on AI. There is a front-end side of it as well, right? There is the layer of fear and apprehension when it comes to talent. How is Constems AI ensuring that the frontline workers drive value out of it? Not that they need to operate, that AI is going to replace me, right? AI is only going to empower. How are you ensuring that your team, your any employee who walks into the brand, right? And how are they going about it? And how do you give them that confidence?
Right. So as I said, we operate with enterprises.
Yeah.
And we have products which we deploy at their plants or at their retail stores.
Yeah.
And of course, whenever we are putting a solution in place, we are also talking to them about the change management.
Correct.
So this AI is not another IT tool.
Correct.
It's not another software. It is actually changing the way they are working.
Absolutely.
And this is something which we have learned over last few years in our experience, that you have to have a change management coming in.
Correct.
So this is not us who would be enabling the client employees, but we are one of the key who help the client work with client and have those enablement, change management deployed across. So you're right. There's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
We have deployed something in a small factory, small town, large factory.
Correct.
and the operator has to push just one more button, and they know it's AI.
Yeah.
It's just not doing any change to their lives. It was only making things easier. But AI fear was always there.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to talk to the management and have workshops and give this kind of confidence that what this is doing and how it is helping them achieve their goal faster,
Correct.
and how it would be a long-term game for them.
One quick last question for you. If you had to today give a message or deliver one thing or one takeaway, share one insight with every innovator and AI builder today looking to adopt AI at scale, what kind of infrastructure should they look at, and what is the first thing that they should prioritize?
So, right. So, if I have to look at it, there are large models. Don't run after large models. Build your core, AI core, which is actually solving a business problem. It should not be a fancy new feature.
Correct.
It should be the core engine and core AI engine, which is solving a business problem. So that's first. Second, you have to put it into a scalability. Operation is the key. So if you have to scale, you have to have an operation in place. You have to have infra in place. You have to take care of the data in large volumes. So you have to take care of all these three things. You have to have compute, you have to have data, and you have to operationalize.
Got it.
You have to take care of all the things that can go wrong as it happens in operation. So you have to move from a technocrat, someone who can operate it at a scale.
Think for the long term and keep solving at every factor, at every little step that you go your way. All right. Thank you so much for doing this, Amit. This chat was more enlightening to me than ever. And I hope the builders in the community who tune into this chat take the same insights that I did today and more. And we'll stay in touch.